We have seen, as a reaction to the attacks in Paris over the weekend, a very strong anti-immigrant, anti-refugee reaction. We've seen 31 governors, mostly Republicans in the United States, say that they are going to be refusing to resettle refugees against the law. And we talked about that yesterday, and we'll talk about it more. The point is, though, we have seen this resurgence of anti-refugee sentiment. And French President Francois Hollande announced that not only will France honor its commitment to take in tens of thousands of refugees, he is going to do it in spite of the concerns being raised by the ultra-right-wing anti-immigrant nationalists in France after these deadly attacks in Paris over the weekend. Not only is Francois Hollande going to maintain the initial commitments he had made with regard to resettling refugees, he is increasing the number of refugees that they're going to take in, saying that France is going to welcome 30,000 refugees, previously saying they were going to welcome 24,000 refugees, adding 6,000 additional refugees, saying also that they would invest over $53 million to develop housing for refugees, strict security checks, strict screening, etc., etc. Still, though, this being hailed by some, Lewis, as a move to not do what it is that ISIS wants to see happen, which is they want anti-refugee, anti-immigrant, anti-Muslim, anti-Syrian attitudes to be the reaction, because then they are further creating a sort of pretext to justify further action.
Yeah, I think the number one goal of attacks like this is to kill people and cause fear. But of course, there is always another objective. There's always another motive. And that is exactly what you just said. And so I think this is brilliant. But of course, Dave, there are plenty of people in France, plenty of people in the United States, as we'll talk about on the bonus show, whose lives are just governed by fear at this point.
And that fear, in great part, is the fear that ISIS fighters could pose as refugees, come up with a story that would qualify them for refugee asylum, and then, once legally in a country, carry out attacks. It could be Europe, it could be in the US, etc. And these fears were stoked by the Syrian passport that was found near the body of one of the men involved in the Paris attacks. But a number of experts have now said that it appears that that was a planted passport, a fake passport designed to do exactly what it is that the right is doing, which is saying no more refugees, no more immigrants. Let's also remember that with regard to this number that France is going to be accepting, this is mostly a symbolic number, right? I mean, Sweden, which has 1/7 the population of France, took in more than the 30,000 refugees that France will take in. So per capita, that's a 200 times greater rate of accepting refugees in Sweden than in France. I'm not belittling the importance of it. I'm just saying it is more symbolic, saying this has happened, but we are not now going to become these anti-refugee, anti-immigrant individuals. We are going to do what it is that we were committed to doing, period. And that's really the important thing. The number itself, less so.
Yeah, because let's face it, yeah, the number could be a lot higher, but it's a good gesture. It's the correct move by France, and yeah, a pat on the back for the president.
And you have spoken to people, Lewis, over the last couple of days, you told me, people you know personally, who are not that thrilled with the idea of taking in refugees from certain countries here in the U.S. So, and these are not right-wingers. They're certainly not extreme right-wingers anyway. It's interesting that it is starting to pervade. It's going beyond just influencing the furthest to the right with regard to this anti-immigration reaction.
Yeah, you know, it's not just about terrorism, too. There are worries that the people we take in will refuse to conform, will refuse to accept our way of living, our society, and
assimilate.
Yeah, assimilate, right, that's the word. And so that's a concern, too. And I have to admit that will probably happen in some areas, in some cases, but it's still the right move to give these people refuge.